look at some of the biggest titles coming out for this year. The PS4, the Xbox One, the Wii U, the PC, they all have a lot of great stuff brewing for 2014. We also reviewed Call of Duty Ghosts and Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Now I know I promised you a review of Battlefield 4, but the devs need to sort out the issues with this game before I can give it an honest review. But yeah, we got previews, we got reviews, and we got a whole lot more. You've just entered the lab. Take a look at Call of Duty Ghosts, the Wii U version. Now, is this franchise getting stronger, or is it just a ghost of its former self? Call of Duty Ghosts. I can see where both devs Infinity Ward and Treyarch are trying their best to keep this ball rolling, but I can't help to think it's running out of steam.
You don't honestly believe that story's true?
Yeah, I do.
Now, if this were the first Call of Duty ever made, we'd all be jumping and cheering at how amazing this game looks and feels, but it's not. Pretty much everything here has been done many times before. Many times. But I'll try not to be biased. I'll try not to treat Ghost for what it really is, which is just a glorified piece of DLC. I'll treat Ghost as if it were a new franchise, as hard as that's gonna be.
Bring it on! Come on! Here I am!
Let's talk story. In a nutshell, an army of soldiers went to war, had a really terrible life-changing experience, which for those who weren't killed, it made them stronger. They became an elite group of soldiers called the Ghosts.
The 60 were cut down to 15. They wouldn't last another night, and the enemy knew it.
Now, one member of the Ghosts had turned renegade for some reason and now wants to kill all the other Ghosts. A part of this horrific life-changing experience is an attack on the US by a group called the Federation, which is led by said renegade Ghost.
Rourke was their ghost now. The perfect weapon to use against us.
Your main characters are Logan and David, and of course their trusty sidekick, a dog named Riley.
Someone's out there.
Wait for Riley. If he attacks a target, shoot to kill.
The campaign is played out pretty well with the usual action-packed, movie-like sequences we've grown to love in military first-person shooters. The levels are designed well and the controls are tight to help you navigate your way comfortably through each of these thrilling stages.
Here they go. Stay back.
I see my cries have not gone on deaf ears, as Infinity Ward has answered two of my very important calls. The first being a lean out or cover system. Now, while this isn't by any means what I ultimately had in mind, I won't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Cover me! This way! Riley, come!
This so-called contextual lean allows players to lean out automatically once you're up against cover and aiming down the sight. I'm not 100% comfortable with it because it doesn't always work, as is the case with most automated systems and games, but it's better than strafing in and out. I'll get to the second granted wish later when I touch on multiplayer.
Keep away from open water. We're not the only hunters out here.
The voice acting is something I don't need to comment on anymore, as it's what we've all come to expect from a Call of Duty game. A-list.
Ghosts don't break. Now, I'm gonna ask you one more time.
Everyone breaks, Elias. Why don't you ask your buddy Ajax? Well, he were still with us.
The difficulty level is interesting this time around. Now, while not being the hardest Call of Duty I've played, it wasn't as easy as Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. Yeah, I see where they stepped it up a notch. The duration, well, as with most military first-person shooters I play, I don't exactly set a timer, and it's subject to individual players. But for me, even though the difficulty was increased, the campaign was still over before I knew it.
Cover me! This way! Riley, come!
We have other contact at the wall! We need backup now! Repeat, we are under attack!
Here's one of the biggest issues with Call of Duty Ghosts. Yeah, I'll skip right to it, and I know I said I wouldn't be comparing it too much with the rest of the series, but I have to throw in comparisons here and there when necessary. Now, the graphics. Here's the thing, when I first put this game in, I was shocked at the visuals. I first thought they looked this bad because it was on the Wii U, even though I heard the Wii U should be on par with the PS3 and 360 graphically. Sometimes even better, but the graphics were mediocre at best. And this time, it wasn't the Wii U's fault. I did some research and found out the 360 isn't better and the PS3 is apparently the worst of a lot. No, I haven't seen it in person on the PS4 or Xbox One, but my point is, it should look better than this even on last gen. Black Ops 2 and the others certainly did. Don't know what that's about.
There she is. Looking like hell.
Let me finish up with the campaign before I move over to the meat of the matter. As usual, your squad has no brains. This is a Call of Duty signature. They're complete idiots. Actually, your canine companion seems to be the smartest of the lot.
Come on, they're executing civvies. Move in, move in! Riley, go!
And at certain points you can take control of him. Hey, since devs seem to be paying attention, could you guys consider squad controls for future Call of Duties? Believe me, the franchise needs a boost, and some variety would be appreciated. I understand sticking to what have been working and paying the bills makes sense, especially since zealots run out and buy it every year. But trust me, I've been saying this for a while now, and now more than ever it's true. Add some massive changes, make Call of Duty into a whole new game, and adding some squad controls would be a great step in that direction.
Hardcore team deathmatch.
On to the multiplayer, the component that keeps us coming back for more. Nothing groundbreaking here, but still an entertaining experience. Let me first point out some of the modes real quick. We have the usual suspects, Team Deathmatch, Kill Confirmed, Free For All, and your Capture the Flag derivatives. We also have modes like Search and Rescue, which has a revive option, Safeguard, Cranked, Blitz, and Squads. While on the battlefield you also have Field Orders. This is new and a cool addition, but not something I'd advise anyone to run out and get shot over. These blue attaches pop up after taking down certain members of the opposing team. When you pick them up, you get orders, some simple, some not so simple, depending on your playstyle, from getting a melee kill to shooting someone in the back, or killing someone while prone. Complete these orders and you'll end up with a care package. Cool addition whether you use them or not.
We're in the lead! Ready for delivery.
As for the kill streaks and perks, here we go again. Now, we have some new ones and some old ones. But here's my concern. Always have been and apparently always will be. Why is everything a perk? Even the simplest things, like running longer distances and reloading at a reasonable pace. Now, here's the worst one. Remember I said the devs granted 2 wishes. Well, running and reloading is a second. Yes, you can now run and reload at the same time. Now, while I appreciate this addition, the devs should be ashamed of making this a perk. I mean, think about it. Why should this be a perk? Every soldier should be able to do this, fresh from military training.
Enemy out and online. That Dom ready.
Anyway, I'm glad it's there. Now, when do we learn to run and shoot? When will running in Call of Duty no longer be a death sentence? Another problem with the multiplayer experience, the maps. Now, while I don't particularly like any of the maps, as most of them are just huge rubbles, they're too big. This isn't Battlefield. Why are the maps so huge? You spend a lot of time searching for someone to shoot only to get shot in the back by a camper.
Target neutralized. Enemy down.
And this game encourages camping with these huge maps. Now, here's another thing. Buying this game for the Wii U was a mistake, for a couple of reasons. First, on the subject of map sizes, in the first DLC bundle Onslaught, players will have access to smaller maps among other things. Unfortunately, Wii U owners will see no such thing as there are no plans for any DLC for this version. Sad. Another thing, which is kind of the root of the problem with the Wii U version, is the community. For now, I'm able to find a match most of the times. But then, I only play Hardcore Team Deathmatch, so I really can't speak on behalf of the other modes. I know I've tried a couple of other modes, and the lobbies are empty. I'm not sure how often that happens though. I just hope the lobbies don't end up like blacklists. We also have a zombie-like mode called Extinction. Now, while I'm no fan of zombie mode, I must say devs did try to make this a bit different and did achieve that on certain points, but it's still not good enough to justify it being added. Extinction mode is just a short-lived thrill infested with aliens instead of zombies, where 4 players can team up to set drills and watch each other's backs till the end of the round, which isn't very long and offers very little in the way of replayability. That's just me though. I look at these modes as I would look at a tennis mode or say a fishing mode or a racing mode in a first-person shooter. I agree, in Zombies and Extinction you still use guns, but it's really out of place and such offerings already are plentiful in their own standalone genres. I do not need Halo or Left 4 Dead in a military shooter. Last on multiplayer, added to the many options of soldier customization is the addition of female soldiers. Now this is fine, as I'm sure many female gamers are shouting hooray for girl power, but for me personally, I'm not exactly thrilled about shooting females, whether or not they have an AK pointed at me. But whatever, that's the least.
SATCOM uplink enabled.
So I'll wrap it up, as with games like this I can easily go on forever. Call of Duty Ghosts doesn't offer much in these times with so many quality games on the shelves. It does very little new, but sticks to its old formula pretty well with a few exceptions. So for playing it safe and not pushing the envelope or any boundaries, but pushing out another Call of Duty game just for the sake of collecting a salary, we give Call of Duty Ghosts a well-deserved 6 out of 10.
Mission failed. This won't happen again.
After the break, we check out some of what's to come on the Wii U, PC, PS4 and Xbox One, plus a review of one truly amazing indie game. So many games on my wishlist for 2014. So many. Too many to mention in one episode, but right here is my top 5. First up on this hit list, as every game I'm about to mention is expected to be a hit, is Dying Light. From the creators of Dead Island comes more zombie goodness, as Techland brings us this action survival horror open world game. Survivors look to the daylight as their only time and means of scavenging for much needed supplies while dreading the night, which is the hunting ground of the infected. Looking forward to this one. It'll be available on the PC, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360 and the Xbox One later this year. Next up we have Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. Now while I'm not a huge fan of platformers, I do own a Wii U, and other than Mario, Zelda and this here, there isn't much else I have to look forward to on this console, as they have very little in the way of third-party support right now. And I've kinda learned the hard way not to invest in third-party titles on this console, as said titles are probably way better elsewhere. DLC being the main culprit, but Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze looks good and I'm not an ingrate. I love this game as far back as the Super Nintendo and will continue to support it and the Big N for as long as they're around. Look out for this one on the 21st of February.
We're out of options. It's now or never. Either way, we need this fuel, or none of us are gonna make it. The fleet's counting on you. Go, go, go!
This is one of those titles that will make any Xbox One owner a happy camper. Titanfall is scheduled for a March 11th release, and while there's some debate surrounding the whole 12-player max multiplayer lobby thing, I'm sure when this drops, most if not all gamers will be too busy enjoying this behemoth to be complaining about squad sizes. It should also be available on the 360 and PC.
It's on the way. Stand by for Titanfall.
Last Gen isn't dead, not by a long shot. No, for all the fans of The Last of Us, a game which was heralded as one of the greatest games on the PS3, we have an interesting piece of DLC to look forward to. It's called Left Behind. It should be released by February the 14th and serves as a prequel to the events of the actual game. Now, while I agree that it's best to leave well enough alone, I trust that Naughty Dog knows what they're doing and will not ruin the infallible name of The Last of Us with a crappy piece of DLC. We'll find out soon though, won't we?
It is a new world for us. For all of us.
Last on my list for today would be The Order 1886, a PS4 exclusive. A release date has not yet been announced, but I'm expecting it sometime this year, hopefully no later than summer. The Order gives gamers the opportunity to join an elite group to battle an age-old war against an ancient foe in London's Victorian era. It looks interesting and it's most definitely on my list of must-haves. So there you have it, just a very minute fraction of what's to come for 2014. Stay tuned to Season 6 as we keep you up to date with more amazing games to come. Thanks for playing. Now, if I had played this title last year when it was released, it would have easily caught the title of Game of the Year for me. No, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is by far one of the most unique games I've ever played. It shows that, well, creativity and originality isn't dead after all. Two brothers set out to find a cure for what ails their dying father. There's no alien invasions, no terrorist attacks, nothing like that. Just a cool, refreshing, well-executed idea. I needed this. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is an amazing experience from beginning to end. The story is simple, but like I said, well executed. These two brothers embark on a journey to find medicine for their father and meet up on many interesting scenarios that range from the light-hearted to the downright dark and sorrow-inducing. The graphics in this game are incredible, even on my rig, which is no powerhouse. The environments are so well designed that this fairytale styled world looks like the kind of place you'd like to visit someday. The controls are also impressive as you use both thumbsticks to control the brothers at the same time. If you have not yet mastered the use of dual analogs, you might want to steer clear of this game or prepare yourself for a harsh crash course in ambidexterity. If you are like most seasoned gamers though, really good at dual analogs, you'll feel right at home because though I've never played a game quite like this before, I'd have to say these controls, although a bit tricky at times, were very intuitive, and after wrapping my mind around it, things happen like I would expect them to. This was not a failed experiment. The levels were designed to perfection. As I said before, creativity was not lacking here. Every experience, every scene was a sight to behold. Teaming up to solve these light puzzles, getting in and out of various scenarios was nothing less than genius on the part of the devs. The fact that the characters spoke what was basically some made-up video game language also proves how well this game was designed. You couldn't understand a word they were saying, but their body gestures combined with the intuitive game design made it a snap to figure things out.
Dali.
You'll never find yourself stuck at any point for more than a matter of seconds. This fact and the game's duration brings me to my next point. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons is a very short and very easy game to play through. Now, this could be considered a bad or good thing depending on how you look at it. For me, this was great. First up, the price tag. I got this game for $8. And I can safely say I got more than my money's worth. If there was a $50 price tag on it, then maybe I'd have felt cheated. And other than the price, the game was packaged in a way that I felt almost satisfied at the end. Almost, because it's really that good. And I was left wondering, what if this game was, say, even 2 hours longer? What else would the devs have come up with? Given the fact that each stage and scenario was pretty much one of a kind. Now, based on the way this game ended, I don't see a sequel coming, but it's not impossible either. Clearly, coming up with creative, unexpected, out-of-the-box ideas is what these developers are good at. Other than leaving me wanting more, this game did nothing wrong. An excellent game that can be downloaded on Steam, but also on PSN and the Xbox Live Marketplace. The lad gives this gem a 9 out of 10. Stick around, we get in the game in Hawaii, and also give honorable mention to some not so new, not so old games in the Sage's selections. I was real busy on my recent visit to Hawaii, but no matter how busy you get, there's always time for game time. I met up with Ramirez, the top gamer on the Big Island.
With one liquor chalice, I see him through the window, be it in smoke rises, vaping volcano. Now I'm on, wanna blow it through the air.
My favorite genre is first-person shooters. I've been doing it since, Nintendo came out. Nintendo, Game Boy, all the first systems. I wasn't there for Atari really, but those first Nintendo systems pretty much sparked me and got me fired up, and it's been history since. I've gotten pretty much through every game system, console except for PlayStation 4 and the new Xbox One, but I'll be getting those soon enough, I'm sure. We're on an island as well, so you know there's not as much you know, distractions. You know, once the kids are done surfing, you know, done playing out in the bush, you know, we gotta go back home and jump on the consoles. You know, we don't have as many distractions as everybody else does on the mainland. You know, Hawaii has its fair share. You know, when you look at the amount of people that are on daily around 3 o'clock, you know, the time school gets off for the kids especially, it's, you know, prevalent that we're a gaming community.
Take them out! Hostiles dropping in!
So when you upgrade to next gen, you're gonna get Call of Duty or Battlefield first?
Battlefield. Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, of course. Battlefield's still I love it, man. Sniping at distance is...
Yeah, some people say it's like a camper's paradise, but I like it.
Oh yeah, well, see, that's the thing, like, I always have the argument, you know, when it comes down to camping, when it comes to military, like, that's why Call of Duty makes such small maps and stuff and what it is, but when it comes to military stuff, you know, nobody runs out in the open.
That's true.
Yeah, nobody's gonna
do that.
But, you know, to rack up score level and seek, you know, to really, you know, I found when I really got into Call of Duty, you know, to rank, you know, first or second every time, you have to run and gun. You know, there's no choice. You can't camp. There are those campers, but that's borderline, you know, cheating, where they're jumping the maps and, you know, hacking the game and stuff.
Yeah, that's why that's the main reason I stopped playing World at War, because I saw some people floating. You know,
exactly.
Flying across the screen. I
used to do it, snaking and all that stuff. I learned about all that, so I was like, oh my god, this has become totally a whole nother level of gaming.
Mission accomplished. Good day's work.
You're watching the Lab Video Game TV. The game is never over.
Got a few emails recently requesting more PC games on the lab. Now, while my PC library isn't that impressive, I do play quite a bit of PC games. You know, some new, some old. Well, here's a list of some of what's been keeping me busy recently, PC and otherwise. Real quick, here's a run-through of what's been keeping me busy these past few weeks. Nothing new, but I don't always need last users' releases to keep me happy. Here are my honorable mentions.
I was just an infant when the old world was destroyed in the flames of nuclear fire.
Metro 2033. I really want to get into Metro Last Light, but I'm a sucker for completion. I find it hard to pick up a game without completing its predecessors. Kinda like watching Lord of the Rings 3 without seeing the first. Metro 23 is one truly interesting game that didn't get the respect it deserved. But such is life in this fast-growing industry. I'm playing this one on my PC. So far so good, and I definitely recommend it. Next, I've been playing some Mass Effect 2. I believe it's safe to say this is one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Better than even Part 1 and 3. I completed Part 1 on the Xbox some time ago, and I will pick up Part 3 on the Wii U as soon as I get through this. I do need more Wii U titles, and I don't think multiplayer and DLC should be such an issue with Mass Effect 3. Hopefully. Last, I've been playing Ghost Recon Future Soldier on the 360, another underrated game in my opinion. Ghost Recon Future Soldier is actually better than even some Call of Duty titles depending on how you look at it. I'm not so fond of the multiplayer, but it is different and an interesting change of pace. But I'm really playing the campaign, and this is pretty good. I put my stamp of approval on all these games. Pick them up if you haven't already. The age on them guarantees a low price tag. Thanks for playing. Well, this is the end of Season 5, but hang tight. We'll be back with an all-new Season 6, brand new stuff for this brand new year with these brand new consoles. Trust me, this is only going to get bigger and better. Stay frosty. thanks to all for watching. A special shout out to my newfound friends in Hawaii. But most of all, thanks to you, the amazing gaming public. Thanks for all your requests on Steam, Xbox Live, PSN, and Nintendo Network. Thank you for all your requests, thank you for your emails, but most of all, thanks for the support. It's because of you guys why the lab's been about since 2003. It's still here and it's only getting stronger. Until next time, you can find us at FabrikatedProjeX.com. Email us at thelabvideogametv@yahoo.com. And remember, our game is never over.